And I would like to share with my colleagues some information from the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. And this organization was founded by Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who was a native Virginian. And it was founded in 1915. And the theme for African American History Month this year is the Black family, representation, identity, and diversity. The Black family has been a topic of study in many disciplines. Its representation, identity, and diversity have been reverenced, stereotyped, and vilified from the days of slavery to today. The Black family knows no single location, since family reunions and genetic ancestry searches testify to the spread of family members across states, nations, and continents. Not only are individual Black families diasporic, but Africa and the diaspora itself have been long portrayed as the family at large. While the role of the Black family has been described by some as a microcosm of the entire race, its complexity as the foundation of African American life and history can be seen in numerous debates over how to represent its meaning and typicality from a historical perspective. As slave or free, as patriarchal or matriarchal, matrifocal, as single-headed or dual-headed household, as extended or nuclear, as fictive kin or blood lineage, as legal or common law, and as Black or interracial, and so forth. Variation appears as well in discussions on the nature and impact of parenting, childhood, marriage, gender norms, sexuality, and mass incarceration. The family offers a rich tapestry of images for exploring the African American past and present. So, Mr. President, I'd like to offer a short story on why this theme is so important. I was asked a question when I was presenting a bill in education and health on cultural competency and why cultural competency was important for teachers and educators. I talk about my niece a lot because she lives in my house. And when she was in middle school, she was given an assignment to do her family tree back 6 generations. I was incensed. So why was I incensed? Because how could she trace her family back 6 generations as an African American child? Had her teacher been culturally competent, she would have known why something was wrong with that assignment for an African American child. Because her ancestors were stolen from Africa, brought across the Middle Passage, lost their names, sold, families torn apart. So it was difficult to trace a family back 6 generations. So how many other people in her classroom could trace back families 6 generations? Now, this little Black child was fortunate because of the tenacity of a cousin, who had been able to trace back our family for several generations. And also because the McMahon family remained on the same plantation in Alabama for several generations. So we, on our mother's side, have been able to trace back to actually a 5th grandmother who had been born in Tennessee in the late 1700s. Yeah. So she was able to do that on my mother's side. She was also able to trace back on her father's side because he was born in Kenya, and it's Kenya, not Kenya. Yeah. So, and because they used griots. to do oral histories of their families. So her father was able to tell her about that generation and tracing back. So she was able to find out that that side of her family was actually from the same village as Barack Obama's ancestors. Yeah. So, but how many other kids in that classroom were not able to do that? So that's what cultural competence means. The ability to be able to understand someone else's shoes and be able to walk in those shoes. Somebody else's ancestry. So, Mr. President, I hope that this Black History Month, we will all take the opportunity to understand cultural competence, representation, identity, and diversity, and walk in someone else's shoes. Thank you, Mr. President.